powerful explosion rocked central Tehran during a massive state-organized rally marking Quds Day, the annual event held in Iran to demonstrate solidarity with Palestinians. The blast struck Ferdowsi Square, a major public gathering site in the Iranian capital, where thousands of demonstrators had assembled for the march, despite the ongoing war between Iran, Israel, and the United States. The explosion occurred close to Engelab Street near Tehran University, one of the epicenters of the nationwide demonstrations. The sudden blast sent shockwaves through the crowd and caused chaos among the thousands of people gathered in the square. Witness footage broadcast by Iranian media showed smoke rising above the area while people scrambled to move away from the scene. At least one person was killed in the explosion, according to early reports, and several others were injured. The rally itself was part of nationwide demonstrations marking Quds Day, an annual event organized by the Iranian government since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. The demonstrations have traditionally been used to express opposition to Israel and support for Palestinians. This year's rallies, however, were held under extraordinary circumstances as the country remains embroiled in an escalating war with Israel and the United States. Despite warnings from Israel that locations connected to the demonstrations could be targeted, thousands of Iranians gathered in central Tehran. The presence of large crowds in the capital reflected the government's effort to show unity and resilience amid the ongoing military campaign against the country. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian attended the rally in person despite the security risks. Pezeshkian, who has served as Iran's president since 2024, appeared among supporters and greeted participants at the gathering. Witnesses said he was seen shaking hands with demonstrators and taking photographs with them while walking through sections of the crowd. Several other senior officials also joined the demonstration. Among them were high-ranking figures from the judiciary and security services, as well as top national police officials. Their presence signaled the government's determination to maintain public events and project confidence during wartime. As the rally continued, speakers addressed the crowd, calling for unity and resistance in the face of foreign military pressure. One senior official delivered a strongly worded message to those gathered in the square. He said, "We intend to stand with the people right by their side until our very last breath and the final moment to confront them." The remarks drew loud cheers from demonstrators who had assembled to mark the occasion. Many waved Iranian and Palestinian flags while chanting slogans condemning Israel and the United States. Another speaker emphasized the message of defiance and resilience despite the ongoing airstrikes across the country. He said the people are not afraid of these coffins. You see people, and even under this burden, under these dark threats, we will never take a step back. Television broadcasts across Iran showed similar rallies in several cities, including Isfahan, where large crowds filled the historic Nakhche-Jahan Square. Demonstrators there also carried banners and flags while chanting slogans expressing solidarity with Palestinians in opposition to Israel. Images aired on Iranian state television showed participants burning American and Israeli flags in symbolic protest. These scenes were widely circulated across domestic media, which portrayed the rallies as a display of national unity and defiance during wartime. The demonstrations come at a moment when tensions in the Middle East have reached their highest point in years. The war began on February 28 when Israel, with support from the United States, launched large-scale strikes against targets inside Iran. The strikes were described as preemptive operations aimed at Iran's military infrastructure and leadership. One of the most dramatic developments during the opening phase of the conflict was the assassination of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The longtime leader was killed during a targeted airstrike on February 28, along with several senior officials of the Islamic Republic. Khamenei's death sent shockwaves across the country and dramatically escalated the conflict. Following his assassination, Iran moved quickly to reorganize its leadership and appoint a new supreme authority. The event marked one of the most significant political shocks in Iran since the Islamic Revolution. The strikes on Iranian leadership triggered immediate retaliation from Tehran. Iran responded by launching missile and drone attacks against Israeli territory, as well as American military installations across the Middle East. Since then, the region has been locked in an escalating cycle of attacks and counterattacks. Iranian missiles have targeted various strategic locations, while U.S. and Israeli forces have continued large-scale air operations against Iranian military sites. The conflict has also spread into the waters of the Persian Gulf, where Iran has targeted ships and energy infrastructure. Attacks on shipping routes have raised global concerns because the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway connecting the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Sea, is responsible for transporting roughly 1/5 of the world's traded oil. Disruptions in the strait have already affected global energy markets, pushing oil prices significantly higher and prompting international efforts to stabilize supply. Amid the escalating conflict, Iran's president has signaled potential conditions under which the war could end. After speaking with international leaders, including those of Russia and Pakistan, President Pezeshkian outlined Tehran's position regarding a possible diplomatic resolution. In a statement shared publicly, he emphasized Iran's willingness to pursue peace if certain conditions were met. Masoud Pezeshkian said, "I reaffirmed Iran's commitment to peace in the region."
The only way to end this war ignited by the Zionist regime and U.S. is recognizing Iran's legitimate rights, payment of reparations, and firm international guarantees against future aggression. The message suggested that Tehran could consider de-escalation if its demands are addressed.
Those demands include recognition of Iran's rights, financial compensation for damages caused by the war, and guarantees that similar attacks would not occur again in the future. Diplomatic efforts have intensified behind the scenes as world leaders attempt to prevent the conflict from spiraling into a wider regional war. Russia, one of Iran's key international partners, has reportedly been in close contact with Iranian leadership during the crisis. Reports indicate that Russian President Vladimir Putin held discussions with U.S. President Donald Trump to explore possible pathways for ending the conflict. According to officials, the conversation focused on potential diplomatic solutions and lasted approximately an hour. The war itself has now entered its third week. Since the first strikes in late February, both sides have reported extensive military operations and heavy losses. U.S. officials claim that thousands of Iranian targets have been struck during the campaign. Meanwhile, Iran has continued to launch missile and drone attacks across the region, targeting not only Israel, but also infrastructure in Gulf countries. President Donald Trump has repeatedly defended the military operation and described it as a decisive victory against Iran's military capabilities. During remarks to supporters, he spoke about the campaign and the name chosen for the operation. Donald Trump said, "And as we take decisive action to stop the threat posed by the terrorist regime in Iran with Operation Epic Fury," he also commented on the naming of the campaign itself. Donald Trump said, "Is that a great name? Well, it's only good if you win. You know, you can only do, and we've won."
Let me tell you, we've won. The U.S. president went further in describing what he said was the rapid success of the operation. Donald Trump said, "You know, you never like to say too early you won." We won. We won. The bet in the first hour it was over. According to Trump, American military forces delivered overwhelming blows to Iran's military infrastructure. Donald Trump said, they don't know what that with them. Donald Trump said they got hit by the American military. They don't know. They said, what the hell's happening? He also claimed that Iran had been preparing to dominate the Middle East before the strikes took place. Donald Trump said they were going to try and take over the whole Middle East.
They were going to knock out Israel. Trump further asserted that Iran's military capabilities had been severely weakened. Donald Trump said over the past 11 days, our military has virtually destroyed Iran. Donald Trump said their air force is gone. Totally gone. Continuing his remarks, he listed several systems that he said had been eliminated during the operation. Donald Trump said they no longer have radar.
They don't have anti-aircraft equipment. They don't have anything. According to Trump, the strikes also targeted Iran's missile and drone production facilities. Donald Trump said their missiles are down 90%. Their drones are down 85%. We're blowing up the factories where they're made left and right. He also claimed that U.S. forces had destroyed Iran's nuclear development capabilities.
Donald Trump said we totally obliterated Iran's nuclear potential. Donald Trump said they don't have nuclear potential. Beyond military actions, the conflict has triggered major economic consequences worldwide. Oil prices surged as shipping routes through the Persian Gulf became increasingly dangerous. To counter these disruptions, Trump announced that international partners had agreed to release large volumes of oil from strategic reserves. Donald Trump said the International Energy Agency agreed to coordinate the release of a record 400 million barrels of oil from various national petroleum reserves. According to the president, the move was intended to stabilize energy markets while the military campaign continues. The war has also extended into naval confrontations in the Gulf. Trump described intense clashes between U.S. and Iranian maritime forces. Donald Trump said they knocked out 54 ships in 2 days. Donald Trump said, but we knocked out 58 naval ships. We knocked out their Navy. He also claimed that Iranian attempts to lay sea mines have been thwarted. Donald Trump said they wanted to drop some mines so boats blow up, and we knocked out the mine layers. As the conflict continues, international concern has grown about the possibility of a wider regional war. Governments across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East have urged both sides to pursue negotiations and avoid further escalation. For many observers, the explosion at the Tehran rally illustrates how deeply the war has begun to affect everyday life in Iran's capital. Even as airstrikes continue and explosions shake the city, thousands of people still gathered in the streets to demonstrate political solidarity and national defiance. For now, the Middle East remains on edge. Military operations continue, diplomatic negotiations remain uncertain, and the possibility of a broader regional confrontation still looms over the region.